Okay. Okay, great.
And we are live. Hey, Concrete. Hey, Bronze Gold.
Hey. What's
Hello.
going on? How's it going?
Everything is going good. How are you guys doing?
Great. Couldn't be better.
Good.
Um,
Everything is good on my end.
good, good,
Okay.
good.
Great to
How
hear.
was Christmas for everybody?
Christmas was wonderful for me. Got a chance to get away with the kids and the fiance, and so it was really, really, really nice. Like I really enjoyed myself. I got what I wanted, so I was really excited about that.
Go
And
ahead, broke Carlin.
Babe got what he wanted.
Good. Not what you were talking about getting them last week.
Wait a minute, I can hardly hear you in these.
Can you
Hold
hear me?
on. I can hear you. No, no, there's nothing wrong with your volume. I have to turn
Oh,
mine is up.
okay.
I'm at Curlin's house, so I'm using his stuff. And honey, I got that military hearing, honey.
Okay,
So
okay,
I be
okay.
needing everything loud. Like, baby, what's going on? Okay. Oh, yeah, honey.
Is that
Turn it down
better?
just a bit. Honey, he got it. It sounds like everybody in 3D now. So
Oh, okay.
now that's better. Yeah, I'm good to go. That's good, babe.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Miss Terrilyn Nicole, how was your Christmas?
My Christmas was okay. It was the first Christmas since my mom has passed. So I pretty but my goal was
Oh,
to just make it through and
yeah.
just try to keep positive, and I was able to do that. So I'm grateful for that.
Well,
Oh,
that's
that's real,
good.
real good. Really
Yeah,
good.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Mine was
What
good too. I enjoyed my Christmas. It was pretty relaxing, which is rare for me. I it wasn't like I wasn't like running around like a chicken with my head cut off. So that was a good
Oh,
thing.
you
But
wasn't? Ooh.
no, I enjoyed my Christmas and I got a ton of stuff that I wanted and some stuff that I needed and didn't anticipate getting. So yeah, it was real good.
Are
That's
you the type of
good.
person that are y'all the type of people that regift?
I've
No,
never regifted, but
Never?
no.
I will tell you if I don't like the gift. If like
Oh
I won't
wow.
be no,
You'll
I won't
tell
be
somebody you don't like their gift?
yes because
You
I
are you
see you.
serious?
Listen, Danny, let me tell you. I am the bomb gift giver. Like I will scope you out. I will stalk you, stalk your social media. Don't let me find out you got a Pinterest. Like I go above and beyond to try to get gifts that I know people like. So if you get me something that I'm not feeling, I'm gonna let you know, like in a tactful way. I'm never like rude about it, but I'm gonna be like, oh, this ain't something that I would typically buy for me, or I don't wear this, or I'm gonna let you know. Sure will.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe. So, if somebody gives you something and you looking at it and you're like, what's this? That's how you like. How do you tell
Listen,
somebody you don't like their gift?
you know what? Interestingly enough, my oldest daughter, like my kids send me the links to what they want because they don't want me even deterring by getting like a different color. So they send me the links and I go and get those exact items. For the stuff that I want, I'm pretty specific. We send pretty specific lists. Now, I'll send a list of a whole bunch of stuff so I won't know exactly what they're getting because they can pick anything off that list. But like the year before last, she bought me like a bubble vest, and I do not wear bubble vests. So I was like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do with that? Like that's not gonna work. And she like, you
She said,
don't
"What
like
am I gonna do with it?"
it, Mom? I was like,
Wait
no,
a
you're gonna have to
minute. So
take
you
that
was
back.
just like, so what am I gonna do with a bubble vest?
Yeah,
So that's how you said it?
yeah, and she's real sensitive. So she's like, Mom, and I'm like,
Oh,
I don't like that. And she ended up taking it back. We went to the store together, and I just got me some little Uggs instead because I'm like, I ain't gonna wear that, you know, and I give good gifts. Give me a good gift.
Wait a minute. So would you tell
Holiday.
everybody, or
Mhm.
is it like specifically with family? Like,
No, I would
you
tell
close to
everything
your family. Girl, I would be
because
mad as hell. I got you, so
listen,
you be like,
who is gonna buy you? Like, who? The only people that exchange gifts with me are family and friends. If you my friend, I should be able to be honest with you, and if you my family, I'm gonna be honest with you. So, I mean, I'm not gonna be rude about it, and I might even keep it. Like, my best friend bought me a fondue maker for my birthday, and she is a horrible gift giver. She always says that, so I know she struggled because she called me like, "Do you have an air fryer? Do you have this? Do you have a pressure cooker?" I'm like, "I have all that stuff." So she was struggling getting me something. So that probably was just kind of like oh, okay, I have to get something. But I was like, what am I going to do with a fondue maker? Like, what am I supposed? So I'm going to
she
keep
knew that
it
you like to host parties
real.
and
I do.
get-togethers and
I do.
whatever. So fondue is always
But I ain't want no fondue
cute,
maker though.
and it's a romantic
See?
type of thing. You know what I mean?
So I might use it
Like you
eventually.
and your baker sit around with your little veggies on a stick and eat fondue.
You know
Cute.
what? But
No,
okay,
it's like a
Mister,
little sexy food. You can
listen.
get you like a little chocolate,
Yeah,
little
we have
cheese,
like a huge deck. So one day I do want to go out there with some wine and do some chocolate and some strawberries
and
and
a
marshmallows.
charcuterie board or
Yeah, baby,
something.
I'm the queen of charcuterie boards. So yes,
Are
that's
you
exactly.
serious?
Listen,
I
I'm
got some stuff I want you to add on yours, but I'm gonna tell you about it after the fact because
listen.
I
My
don't need
kids, we do
everybody stealing
movie
my
nights,
food.
and I do like chalk boards with everything on it. And yes, I love that type of stuff. So you're right. I will find use for it, but it's not something I would have typically bought for myself. But I mean,
Right.
I'm thankful. But Miss Terrilyn, I want to. What about you? Do you re-gift? And
No,
would
I
you tell
don't.
somebody if you didn't like the gift?
No, I wouldn't tell them that I didn't like the
No.
gift. I'll tell somebody else though, like somebody
That's
else that's
Concrete's
close
rude
to.
ass. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I
Oh
don't
my
know about
gosh.
this. Girl,
Whatever.
I'd be like, word, that's how you feel.
Mm-mm,
Oh
baby. No.
God.
So what if it was your fiance and he got you a gift that you wasn't feeling? You ain't gonna say nothing to him?
Hell no, I ain't gonna
Okay,
say nothing, girl. You don't say nothing until after you get down the aisle. Shit. You
No.
let them get you the bad gifts if that's what it is.
Uh-uh.
Girl.
I can't live like that. I can't live like that. I literally told my fiance, like after the first year, I saw that he buys functional gifts. So like now every holiday, I'm just like, "Baby, can I get your car so I can order my gifts?" Like I'm just gonna order what I want because I don't want you to buy me new tires. I don't want you to buy me a backup camera for my car. I don't want that stuff. I don't want
Wait
you
a
to buy.
minute.
Yes.
I like new tires. I
Uh-uh.
like
Not
parts
for
and stuff
no
for my
birthday
car.
gift. For a birthday gift, you know you
Now,
would
if he
not.
wrapped it up in a bow and was like, "Hey, here it is," then I probably would be like, "Bruh, mm-mm."
I don't mean to come
But
off as ungrateful. I guess I do sound a little spoiled, but I give good gifts and I'm
not
not
you,
rude about it.
concrete, not
You
spoiled at
know what?
all.
Okay, I'm done. I'm
Mm.
gonna shut up.
Mm, mm.
she
Whatever.
just wants a gift that she likes. That's all, and she's
Right,
vocal
because
about it.
I'm telling you, as parents too, especially I'm a parent, so you don't typically get many gifts. I mean, I go above and beyond for my kids. Like, oh my gosh, you should see. I do a whole lot for my kids. So, like, if they get me one or two gifts, like certain things, I'll be like, you can get these as add-on gifts, maybe Pandora charms or stuff like that. I'll say you can get me these as
Okay.
add-on gifts, and I'm pretty specific about it. But I go above and beyond for my kids. Even my fiance, I got get him really nice gifts like that. I know he would like, and I spend a nice little chunk of change. So my friends, I buy them
Okay.
good, nice gifts. So I'm not like I don't want extravagant gifts, but I want certain things that I know I will like and I will use.
I'm gonna tell y'all this one quick story about how I broke up with a guy back
Hmm.
in the day, right? So it was Christmas, around Christmas time. So I went out and I bought him a polo jogging suit and it was like real. I didn't get like the fake ones and stuff off Facebook or anything. So I got him a polo jogging suit and I got him some cologne and there was this expensive liquor that he liked. So that stuff cost me like about $400, right? And
Okay.
we had an express. Now they took away the express in Jackson, so we don't have the express anymore. But we had an express store, but I loved express. So Express would have these little cute holiday dresses, but after a while they have like stuff on sale from the summer or whatever. And
Mhm.
so I remember going to Express, and it was this white dress that I saw, and I was like, "Oh, this dress would be cute for the summer." And I was like, it was on sale, but certain things I won't shop for in the wintertime. And I'm just, it was just one of those things. It was like, oh, it's cute. It'll be cute for the
Mhm.
summer, whatever, whatever, whatever. Right. So now the guy and I didn't go out a lot, but he was saying that he had all these bills. He had this, that, and the third to take care of. And he told me that he would make it up to me for Christmas. Right. Honey, Christmas Day comes and I'm excited as all hell. Like I was ready. Like I was really ready. I was
Mhm.
excited. And he gives me this bag, like this, little gift bag, and I give him my little big gift bag, and I'm thinking like, okay, I'm wondering what this is. Honey,
Right,
I
little
opened
gift
up the
bag.
dress. Listen, I opened up the bag, and the dress was like, I think the dress was even cheaper the day I went in the store and looked at it. And I want to say he was in the
Oh
mall
wow.
that same day. So I know he had spent about $14, $15 on that dress. And I told him to give me my shit back, and I took
Talk
it
to
back
me.
to the store and got my money back. And I broke
See,
up with
he
him.
tried it. Baby,
Yeah,
yeah. Now that's when
yeah.
you got to
So
bust them
so
out. You don't
I
have to be nice
that
about it.
no, I was mad. I was like, "Oh nah, dog. It's not that type of party. Give me my money. Give my stuff back so I can go get my money." And I
Yeah,
broke
I
up
would
with
have
him.
been upset about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I would have feel
I can't say that
like don't.
somebody was like, "Well, it's the thought that counts." And I'm like, no.
You know what? I ain't trying to hear that. Thought that counts my tail. I really am not trying to hear that because, and I don't like. We don't have to compare receipts. If I spend, $700 and you spend $500, okay. If as long as it's something that I like, but at the same time, just like $14. Come on, seriously. Like you didn't even try to put any thought
Mm.
into it. You really just kind of no.
Girl,
I don't feel that
no,
way.
he said he had put thought into it, but he just thought it would be something that would have been cool. It would have been something that I liked, but I'm like, nah, dog, you ain't gonna $15. And I spent
Yeah.
about 500, good $500 on him, $500.
Uh-uh.
Mm.
So
I'm
I'm
about to
like, give
catch
me
some
my
receipts.
stuff back.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
understandable.
did. I took that
That's
shit right back to the
understandable.
store and I bought me something nice for
Right.
Christmas Day
Okay.
year. So yeah, I was like, nah, dog, not here. Um like what oh and when I finally like we ended up talking about it like a long time, like after it happened, and he was like, I was on some BS and I was like, yeah, because nah, dog, I wasn't gonna go. But anywho, let's get off into
Yeah,
this
let's get off into it. After
interview.
exchanging our pleasantries and talking about Christmas, I'm still in a good holiday festive mood. So I think we're gonna have a good show. But before we get into it, we want to let our special guest, Miss Terrilyn Nicole, introduce herself, and then we're gonna get off into the discussion.
Yes.
Okay, you guys. My name is Terrilyn, but I pretty much go by Nicole. I am the creator of a group whose members I absolutely love. If you are a part of the group, you would know exactly why that is. The group is called Most Eligible Bachelor, and it is sponsored by my business, Bronze Gold Boutique. So you can go to Facebook to join that. We would love to have you.
Yes, and I'm gonna have to get the link so I can post your group down in the chat. But
Great.
Oh yeah, it's real
what
live up in there
made
too.
you yes, honey, lit. But what made you just decide to start a group like that?
Right.
Okay. Well, for one, I'm from Louisiana, but
Mm-hmm.
I moved to Texas, the Dallas area, DFW. And I
Okay.
tried for some years to do the dating thing here. And it's like the men were just completely different from what I was used to. I could not mesh with them at all. So I came
Give
to
me
the
some examples of like what you mean by completely
Yeah, what were
different.
you coming across
oh
that was so different?
oh God. Okay. To be honest with you guys, I came across a lot of black men who weren't necessarily proud to be black men.
Oh
Mm.
So
wow.
that, yeah, that discouraged me. That was something new that I had to deal with. And the men in Louisiana didn't have that vibe with them. Also, a lot of argumentative men. I'm used to women being argumentative, and the men where I come from, if you start confrontation with them, or you're argumentative with them, they will do almost anything to get you to stop the argument. They immediately want to resolve conflict. Here I found that more so, and this is not to stereotype everyone here, this is just my personal experiences and what I came across. But I came across a lot of men who were extremely aggressive, and they were really confrontational and negative. They did a lot of belittling and insulting. I mean, this is within 3 minutes of conversation. You're insulting me, you're belittling me. And I'm like, I don't
Wow.
understand. Yeah. So I got that a lot for a couple of years. And I was like, okay, I can't do this. I need to date outside of the state. So
Okay.
Oh.
right. So I tried to do that, but it was kind of hard because a lot of people don't want to date someone that lives far. They're not too fond of long distance relationships. So the thought for the group came into play. And also, it was a way for me to get my business out there to women as well. Since I had just launched my business, I needed clientele. I needed people who were interested in fashion in the same way, in the same light that I am. So why not kill two birds with one stone and get this thing popping? Let's get this going. Let's see how this turns out.
Ah. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I have a question for you. Being
Okay.
that that's you gave us the background regarding what prompted you to start the group. It's a
Hmm.
two-part question. Number one is, does the group solely focus on, well, the premise of the group, was it solely to focus on black men? And the other part of that is, had you considered looking to dating men outside of the black men that you were interacting with and encountering?
Okay, so of course, being that I am a black woman, the group would be a predominantly black group. However, it's open to people of color in general. In
Okay.
regards to my personal preferences on the type of men that I date, I prefer black men. And as long as you are a person of color, then I can consider you. But my preference is always going to be a reflection of myself, which is a black man.
Okay. I feel you. I'm the same way as far as my preference. Um,
Hmm.
Danny, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm pull up my questions too.
Okay. Have you had any matches in the group that has led to long-term relationships?
Yes, we have had a match that actually led to a marriage as well. I believe that person
Oh.
made yeah, she made a post maybe about 2 months ago,
Mhm.
stating that her and her new beau had gotten married. So I am aware of one marriage
Uh,
due to most eligible
Okay.
bachelor. But we've
Hey.
had lots of relationships. Now those relationships have come and gone. Some are
Yeah.
still
mhm.
happening. We've had a lot of matches. I think, to be honest with you, that most of the matches that we've had have been very low key, and I may be the only person
Mm,
that knows about those matches because the people,
Mhm.
the women or the men, are going to reach out to me directly. And some people are very secretive people and they don't want their business out there. And so they will just
mhm.
thank me secretly, like, thank you. I really appreciate you for, getting this platform going, I was able to meet a nice young lady, or I was able to meet a nice gentleman who treats me right. And if it wasn't for this group, I never would have met him. So,
Yeah.
I just want to thank you for that. So, yeah, it has been lots of relationships, dating. Uh, what's the other word? Casual dating. Just
Mm.
people just
There's always gonna
traveling.
be that.
Yes, people traveling to meet one another, even though they didn't establish a relationship. There was interest, that basically caused two people to want to travel long distances to meet up with each other. So, yeah, we've had a lot of that. A lot of people
Nice.
aren't aware of it, though. I think my group is most known for um pettiness, uh battle of the
Pettiness.
sexes. We like
Yeah.
Yeah.
entertainment as well. It is a very versatile group, and just because we entertain ourselves doesn't mean that behind the scenes people aren't making those love connections, because they are.
Mm. Well, you know
Mm.
what? I first off want to give you kudos because you don't see too many, especially too many, women-led groups that are highlighting the fact that there are some, good eligible bachelors. It's, black men as good eligible bachelors,
Hmm.
especially ones that focus primarily on our demographic. So first off, just coming up with something where you're highlighting, black kings and their eligibility is dope in and of itself.
Thank
But I
you.
wanted to know that being that the group is that you have a variety of different topics in the group, and it's not strictly focusing on like the dating and mating aspect, even though that's a part of it.
Hmm.
Do you tend to see quite a bit of drama that kicks up in the group?
We have drama on a daily basis. I don't even know if the word daily is an accurate reflection
Oh,
of the type of drama that we have in Most Eligible Bachelor. It is extremely entertaining to be in this group, which is why people don't believe that connections are being made, because the entertainment aspect of my group is just extremely, extremely dramatic.
Would
Uh,
would you say there's more conflict versus people that are actually trying to make love connections?
what do you mean?
Like,
Elaborate for me.
okay, there of course there's an entertainment factor, but you have people that like they're not really interested in anybody, basically coming there to keep up shit, versus people that are actually like, look, I really want to meet somebody. I really am trying to date people.
I honestly, just from what I see personally, I really think it's more people in the group that are looking for a mate
Okay.
than people who come in there strictly for entertainment. Now, with that being said, a lot of people are discouraged due to the entertainment factor, and that is pretty much the priority, what it would seem in the group. So that
Mm,
discourages people, and it kind of makes them feel, it kind of takes away their hope. Like, oh, I came in here thinking that I could meet someone, and this group is really, really good for laughs, but I don't think it's really good to find a mate, because the men and the women in the group are constantly bickering. Now, let me say
mm,
this as well. When I first started the group, um, I had a lot of time to hand pick the members. I hand picked
mm,
a lot of
mm,
males. Let me just say men. Let's not get into that. And I
mhm,
have hand picked a lot of women as well. Okay. So I was able to kind of just gauge these people as far as what is your occupation, what type of post do you make on Facebook? Because regardless of what anyone says, that is a direct reflection of your mentality. What you post, what
mm.
you
hmm.
write,
I
what you
agree.
say, what's your commentary, what do you comment on posts? That tells a lot about the type of person that you are. And so I was
True.
able to go through, with a fine tooth comb and choose different members that I wanted to be in the group. And during that time, there were more connections made. during that time period. Now, my objective was also to build my group as well. And that's where the problem comes in, because you have a couple of different hundred people that are being added every day. So it only takes one uh, person's energy to come in and completely change the dynamic of the group for that day. So if you have a new person that's joining the group, and then you have this troll that has joined the group on that same very day, and they're ruling the group in that moment, then that new member who
Mm-hmm.
joined the group, what is their perspective of my group going to be? It's going to be according to what you see, how long you've been in the group. Okay. So with the group constantly
Mm-hmm.
growing, it's constantly changing. So I can't dictate what you take from it or what you see. I've been in it since it first started, so I have seen the group evolve negatively and positively.
Well, how long have you had the group up?
It's been at least 2 years. Now,
Okay.
we did go through a period where we got shut down for about a
Mm.
month or so. And then we also went through a period where we went through several periods where we were on punishment because, like I said, we are a group who likes to entertain ourselves. So
Yeah.
during those
I find
times,
it
we didn't
interesting.
have. What do
No,
you
go ahead.
find
I'm sorry.
interesting?
That they don't over police in the group. That, even though, the direction of the group has, shifted. And I kind of enjoy that. I hate to be like over policed, like, every little thing. It's like, you can't do that. There's a long list of group rules. And, I don't like the
Right.
over
No.
policing because we're all adults. So that is like an
Exactly.
enjoyable aspect of the group to me.
Right, and that's a direct reflection of my personality. Like, I'm not going to just hover and micromanage. I don't want to do that. We're all grown. If I feel like you can't adjust
Hmm.
and adapt to the environment that I have set forth in the group, then we'll just remove you and we'll keep it pushing.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Gotcha.
So would you consider yourself like a modern day matchmaker?
No.
Mm.
Yeah.
So even though
Um,
you've created a platform that where matchmaking can take place, you wouldn't
Mhm.
consider you don't like, I guess, have an active role in matching.
making it happen. Yeah.
No,
Right.
absolutely not. And I actually think that's very wise that I take that step back, because that can hold you accountable to some things that later on you may not necessarily want to be accountable for. Okay.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
you don't know who these people are. And that's why I took a very careful consideration with the name most eligible bachelor. A bachelor is an unmarried man. Okay. A lot of people take issue with the fact that there are people in the group who are in relationships. Okay. So, how many times have you met someone who has told you that they are single and that they are not involved with anyone, only to find out months later that this person is engaged
Mhm.
or has a
Mhm.
girlfriend or a boyfriend? Exactly. So I don't have time to figure out and to battle what you have going on. Okay. If you're not married, then you are welcome to the group. That is the definition of a bachelor. Also, the word eligible.
Mm,
Eligibility, that is subjective. That is based on you, what you find eligible. I don't have any kids. Therefore, if I meet a man that has 5 kids, you are not eligible to me. Okay. That is not a
Mhm.
judgment. That is just what is my own standards. You're not
yeah.
eligible
Yeah.
to me.
Right.
So that is different per every person. You choose who is best for you. I have given you the platform. What you do with it is what you do with it. And I don't want to step over boundaries. I don't want to say, oh, I think this person will be good for you. Who am I to say this person may be good for you? And 6 months down the road, what if they try to kill you? Then you're going to come back at me like you said this person was good for me. No, I'm not putting myself in that situation. So I've given you the platform. You do with
Smart.
it as you will.
Mm.
Very, very
Well,
smart.
Thank you.
yeah, that is. Because you wouldn't want to be accountable. Things are, a lot of relationships aren't gonna succeed. And then You go through things in life, so I totally understand that. I wanted to ask you,
Hmm.
what mindset would you say that you see in your group? Are women more like pick me's versus let's say the sisterhood, or would you say that it's more? Would you say there's more pick me's or more women that would be considered sisterhood?
Yeah, kind of tied into the sisterhood or have like a westernized ideas and maybe hold maybe more feminist views.
Yeah.
It is basically a group of all different walks of women, which is probably why we have the drama that we have, because everyone has a different mindset. And some people don't understand or want to respect another person's mindset that is different than their own.
Hmm.
I love the fact that everyone is different. So yeah, we do have pick me's. I see it, and I also have to be very careful. And I've learned this is something I've had to learn since creating the group is sometimes I just really need to shut up. My opinion, I'm an extremely opinionated person, but having this group has taught me that my opinion is not always warranted. I think
Mm.
that
Hmm.
due to the fact that I am the creator of the group, my opinion will be taken in a different light than someone else's opinion. It will
Yeah,
Mm.
be a
weighted
little
more.
more sensitive. Exactly. And the person will be a little bit more sensitive to what I say because they're going to think, oh, well, she doesn't like this. She doesn't like that. Does she not want me in her group when I'm nowhere near that? I respect
Yeah.
all walks of life, all different mentalities, as long as it isn't a disrespectful mentality. So, yeah, we have women who some would consider a pick me. We have women who are extremely independent and want to be thought of in their own light. We have all different types of women, all different types of men.
Would you say there's
Well, mhm.
so what I would say is what I've noticed with the men online is that a lot more men are adapting something called like a red pill ideology. And that's basically recognizing female nature, in my opinion, or accepting the truth about people, life, whatever in general. Everything isn't sugar and spice and everything nice. But I've noticed that a lot more men seem to be adapting that ideology. What do you think about that?
I'm not familiar with the red pill ideology. I haven't heard anything about it, to be honest with you. So I can't
Well,
really speak
you
on that.
remember, so just to give you guys a little bit of background,
Hmm.
some of us here on YouTube actually came from a lot of the same Facebook groups. But you know how we had gender wars on Facebook, and it seemed like a lot of those guys had a lot of them had similar ideologies just like they do on YouTube. YouTube, I think they gave it a name and the name was Red Pill, but it's like men fighting for men's rights and saying that you have certain laws that are geared, like basically the marriage laws, divorce laws, child support, child custody laws are basically going to be more favorable toward women. Not a lot of people advocate for men's rights. And
Okay.
so, red pill is to make people more aware of men's rights. You have some men that'll go to court, they'll get screwed, stuff like that. What do you think? Or do you have an opinion about it?
Hmm. That's a touchy subject. Pretty much go either way. I think I would probably be more comfortable giving an opinion based on an individual basis of
Yeah,
what the scenario is versus just in general, because every situation I would need to hear the situation first before I'm able to
gotcha.
speak on that. Right.
Well, I have a
Okay.
question for you. Um,
Mhm.
Speaking of, the gender divide, there being that, you have a group in which you can see the interactions between men and women and kind of the, male opinions versus the female in the groups and
Hmm.
them stating their opinions, and they're a lot of
Right.
times on opposite ends of the spectrum. And we've seen like a drastic decline in marriage rates and an uptick in divorce rates. Do you think that the gender war or the divide between men and women is impacting dating and mating in the 21st century? Why or why not?
Absolutely. Like any, okay, when it comes to gender wars, this is pretty much how I look at it from my perspective. It's no different than a relationship that you would have between the average woman and the average man. Okay. Um, One party feels like they have been wronged or they have been hurt. The other party feels exactly the same. And so you see bickering. There's no conflict resolution. There's no understanding. There's no wanting to understand the others, the other party's mentality or perspective because you don't feel like your own perspective is being acknowledged. You're so caught up in the emotions of
Good
it
point.
that you're just trying to get across what you feel, how you've been hurt, what has been done to you. So, and me being a human being as well, if I'm trying to get my point across and I feel like this other person isn't listening to anything that I'm trying to say, then what makes you think I'm going to listen to what you have to say? First, you need to understand what I'm saying so that I can understand what you're saying. And I really feel like it's really just that simple as far as
That's a
acknowledging the
very good
other
point.
party's pain.
I think we get so
So in the
caught up
group,
in trying to deliver our own points that we don't hear
right,
out the other side. We're so focused on, but
right.
my point is this, we kind of shut down from hearing what the point that the other side may be trying to convey.
Hmm. And I mean, I just sit back and watch it because, like I said, I have learned to kind of keep quiet in regards to most of my opinions. And so I'm able to sit back and just see this side say what they have to say, this side say what they have to say. And pretty much, if you really just think about it, they're pretty much saying the exact same thing. And that has created a distrust on both sides. And the wall has been built in the middle. So I feel like in order to remove that barrier and to lower that wall is to not respond to be right, but
Mm,
to listen and attentively listen to what the other party is saying to you and try to understand their perspective regardless of whether you respect it or feel that same way or not. At least try to understand where this other person is coming from, and I feel like if you do that, more than likely you'll receive the same type of treatment from the other party.
good point.
Okay.
I agree.
Really good point. So let's just say, and I got this question from Kevin Samuel's page. I saw it on his community tab earlier, and I thought it was a
Hmm.
really good question. And it said, if the gender war is over, who, which gender should make the first move towards the peace table?
Hmm,
I think both genders should.
Mm, okay.
Neither
good answer.
gender
Good
is,
answer.
I mean, we've all, none of us are perfect. We're not perfect.
Let's meet halfway, meet in the middle.
Right. So let me hear, what are you saying? What is your issue with me? What is your issue with my gender? What do you feel like we have done to you? Now, if that's something that I am guilty of, then I can be a woman and say, okay, in the past, I have done that. And I did realize that that was wrong and how that may have affected the other person. I apologize for that. Okay. And if it's something that that I've never been guilty of, then I can't apologize for something that I've never done. And I feel like in some situations you will have women that say, "Oh, well, I'm not that type of woman. I've never done that." And then the other party is like, "Oh, you're lying. Yes, you did. All women are this way, or most women are this way. I don't understand why y'all can't take accountability." And then it just goes on and on and on from there. Like I said, I just really feel like if you just seek out to understand what the other person is saying versus trying to be right in the situation, then you'll have a completely different outcome.
Mm,
I would agree
yes,
with
sir.
that. You know what? I saw somebody in the chat type something that was pretty interesting, and he was saying, I don't even know who it was, but he said like men should, stay clear of dating apps. Now, personally, I've tried
Hmm.
dating apps. I'm not a huge fan of dating apps, but I think a
Hmm.
platform such as yours and or different social media outlets, kind of you have the benefit of kind of seeing how that person thinks. You can kind of like watch them without them knowing that you're watching them and pay attention to their
Hmm.
mindset. So I think it's more of a benefit than meeting somebody out in the streets. Do you personally think that, using social media to date and mate, it is more beneficial than, meeting someone out and about? Of course, if you're meeting someone out and about, typically you're going to meet their representative before you meet the
Right.
person behind the mask.
Good
Right.
question.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. I feel like, okay, so yes, dating apps and social media has a bad rap in terms of dating, but it kind of depends on your mindset um, and how you are scrutinizing the individual. What are you looking for? Are you paying attention to the red flags that are thrown to you? Because I do. And since I do, dating on social media has been beneficial to me. Not beneficial as far as that's how I met my partner, because I met my partner at work, but as far as eliminating people who were not good for me, I feel like I was able to do that and go through that process a lot faster online
Mm.
than I would in person. So I mean that's a positive too. The fact that I am able to do the process of elimination and get you out of the way so that I can be closer to what I want as opposed to what I don't want in a partner.
Okay.
Good point.
Um, do you think the group has had a lot of problems with catfish?
I wouldn't say a lot of problems. We have a lot of catfish, but we pretty much have a lot of investigative personalities in the group. So as soon as you come in with the foolery, someone is on it. Okay. And we have found out very quickly that you are not who you say you are, and we are able to eliminate that that problem expeditiously, as Ti said.
Okay, okay. In your opinion, do women still want to get married? Do most women want to get married?
I would think most women want to get married. I would think most of them do. But I also feel like there are a lot of women who don't want to get married. And I feel like that is perfectly understandable. And I feel like those women get looked at and treated as if something is wrong with them. At one point, I was one of those women. I didn't see the a marriage benefiting me in any type of way. I think it benefit me, but I saw it as more work than anything.
Mm.
It just was more work to me. I personally feel like marriage may benefit men more than women, but that's just my personal take on
Why do you feel like that?
That's interesting. Yeah. Elaborate, please, ma'am.
it. Okay, so maybe back in the day, you had couples and marriages where the woman stayed at home and the man went out to bring home the bacon. These days, modern women are doing the exact same thing as that man is. Okay. You're working a full time job. Well, guess what? So is she. But it never has, that didn't take away from the duties of what people feel like a traditional wife should do. She should still cook. She should still clean. She should still tend to the children. She should still do laundry. She should still help the kids with homework. And I'm not saying that men don't do that as well. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that that is primarily a duty for a woman. So even though now she has entered the workforce, she still has those duties that she must tend to. And that's a lot of work because I mean, that's a lot. If I'm going out and I'm doing the exact same thing that you're doing, you're working 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day, and I'm working
Mhm.
8 hours a day as well. So what? You get off and what do you do? You take out the trash and you get to sit down and watch TV. I still have a whole full-time job to do. I have to make sure
Huh.
this house is clean. I have to
Okay.
make sure this laundry is done and that it's folded. Let me tend to the kids. How was your day? What are you doing in school? And like I said, I'm not saying that men don't contribute in the same way. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the primary duties of a wife, a woman is still held to those standards. Even though she
Mm.
could be out working a full-time job and she may, like myself, I work a full-time job and I own a business as well. And
Oh
I
wow,
run a
yeah.
full-time group. So if I did have a child, how where would this energy come from? Because I'm beat now
Mm.
just
Good
doing what I
points.
do. So I mean that's just
Hmm.
me and that's just how I see it. I
Yeah.
also feel like your perspective is going to have a lot to do with how you were raised. What was your upbringing? What did you
Hmm.
see in your own personal household growing up? And a lot of people want to take offense to that when it doesn't have a thing to do with you. How I grew up in my household doesn't have anything to do with you. Just understand that due to the fact that I was raised this way, I'm going to expect A, B, C, and D. Okay.
Oh
And you
wow.
don't have to feel a certain type of way about it. If that's something that you don't agree with, then you go out and you go and find the woman who was raised in a way
I
that's
agree.
similar to you, and you take that woman and you go on and you make a life with her. But don't come and look at me and try to mock and ridicule me for what I think or what I
Hmm.
feel or what I expect out of a man just because I grew up and saw this in my household. I don't feel like I
Mm.
should be
Yeah.
ridiculed for that. You have, just like I glanced down a second ago and I saw a
Hmm.
guy that had a question and he said, are there women in the group that want coffee dates or that find that acceptable?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I was gonna get to that in just a minute. We got a super chat. Shout out to Kev. Long live the habitual line steppers, is my brother.
Thanks,
And
Kev.
shout out to Smarkatech Man. He says to give a percentage of who does or don't want to
Oh,
be married.
like
And
how
thank you
many
so much.
women do we think, or does Miss Terrilyn think wants to be married versus how many do you think don't have a desire to marry?
Mm, maybe 75% of women do, and this is approximate, versus that
Yeah,
25% who don't want to be married.
that's
Okay.
interesting.
And what would you say in regards to the men?
75% don't.
Child, it's
Maybe,
probably like 100% due, but we gonna get out of there.
Mhm.
right. Maybe with men, I would probably say 90% of men want to be married versus
Wait, what?
maybe,
Really?
yes,
Whoa,
yes,
whoa,
versus
Interesting.
10%
whoa!
who don't.
Repeat that for the group
Now,
one
So
look,
what
more.
is
with
it?
with
I was thought you
men,
was gonna say 90% don't and
mm-mm.
10% do.
Men want to very well be married. Now, the issue with men is what age do you want to be married? That's the
Yeah.
issue with men. Have I fulfilled and done all of the things that I want to do before I marry this person? I don't feel like it's a lot of men who don't want to get married. I've never really met a man who said, I don't want to get married. I don't think I've ever met one. The issue is always, when do you want to get married? I don't want to get married until I'm in my
That's
40s,
that's a
or,
good point. Yeah, yeah.
you
So
know?
have you ladies ever heard of like being proximate to certain men? You know, so I've heard that men will marry like the woman that's in their proximity. Have you ladies ever
When
heard
they're
that before?
ready. So it could be
Yeah.
somebody he met 2 months ago, but now he's ready to marry, and you stayed with him for 10 years, and he wasn't ready, type of thing.
Right.
Yeah,
Have
I've
you
heard
ever
of
heard
it.
of that, Terry?
Yeah, but I mean, from my own personal experience, I don't think that the reason for that is convenience. I feel like this, and this is probably going to hurt some feelings, and this is exactly why I have learned to shut up in my group. Okay.
You can hurt feelings over here.
I
They're
don't want to
they're
hurt
they're
feelings. I
they're
don't want to
thick
hurt
over here,
feelings.
honey, and they don't mind hurting them back with
I'm
y'all
trying
evil
to
ass.
tell you, they this
Mm,
Okay.
this a
mm,
special group.
All right. So
mhm.
let me come real right here. All right. Men are creatures of convenience. Okay. So they can stay with a woman and find benefits in this woman. Oh yeah, she's a cool woman. She's a good woman. She's beautiful. She cooks. She cleans. She's a good woman. She's smart. She's intelligent. Blah 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 blah. With all that being said, that doesn't necessarily mean that man feels like that is the right woman for him. So when you have relationships that, and this is not in all situations, okay? So let me throw that out there. But when you have situations and relationships where the man has been with the woman for 10 and 15 years, I'm sorry, I don't think that he wants to marry that particular woman. I feel like he is just content with her. He finds security in her. That doesn't mean he doesn't love her. He
Okay.
can very much so love this woman. But still, what is holding you back from marrying this woman is because really and truly you kind of know that that's not the person for you, or she still lacks qualities in a woman that you want, and a woman that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So when you see a man that's been with a woman for 10 years and he leaves her, he goes off and he gets with this woman for 6 and he marries her, it's because he doesn't feel like he's settling with that particular woman. She has what he
Mm.
wants. She fulfills him and whatever type of needs he feels like he needs to be with someone for the rest of his life. And that's just how I feel about it. I've seen that happen too many times
Yeah.
to think otherwise.
Now,
Okay.
I don't think I can argue with that, and I think you articulated your reasoning why very well. And I think that there's some truth to a lot of truth to what you were saying. We got a super chat,
Okay.
but it was something that you said that I do want to touch on after the super chat, which we got from O'Shea Lennox. He says,
Okay.
women today will not even marry Superman. Well, I don't know about that,
Mm,
O'Shea. I do think that when going back to your earlier commentary about, marriage being kind of an uneven deal where it benefits men more, I think that as people that it's important um, to ensure that your relationship and whatever you enter into is equally as beneficial to you. So if that means that you share the household duties 50-50 with your partner, so be it. If that means that you make more money, so your partner does more of the household duties because that's what works for you, and you work longer
Mhm.
hours, and then I think
Right.
that your relationship should be what you make it. Now personally, I'm
Right.
extremely domestic, so I'm traditional, like get out my kitchen type of attitude. But
Okay.
I do understand, it is get difficult when you work outside the home 40, 50 hours a week, and then you're coming home running after kids. And, the men in this space like to downplay how much a woman has to do. Oh, well, she has a dishwasher. You can use the crock pot. You don't even have to do that much.
Maybe they make it seem like all you do is throw the kids in the bed. You come
I'm
home,
trying to tell
you throw the
you, like, it's
clothes in the
15
washing
minutes of work.
machine. They take themselves out. You don't fold
I'm
anything.
trying to tell you, that's how they
You,
act.
honey, you ain't chasing kids around, changing diapers, making sure clothes are ready,
Yeah, but
honey.
back in the day, you used to have to wash clothes out by their man after work. They
Oh
ain't got
my
this for 17
God. Oh my
hours.
God.
I mean, they gonna come up here with some of that nonsense. Just watch them. But
Wait a minute. New said some of y'all burn boiling water. New.
ooh, I don't know nothing about that, baby. I don't know nothing about that.
Oh God! It was called being a wife. Mhm.
Well, y'all need to reassess those duties because some women ain't going. They like y'all want too much. So I mean, yeah, I respect it.
Yes. What we were getting ready to do. Take a deep breath, Terrilyn, because
Oh
we
no.
getting ready. We getting ready to open up the panel, honey.
No, we gonna let the panel, y'all know, to come up and keep it respectful because we ain't having no nonsense. We want to make sure that we're talking one at a time and being respectful, and we're running a functional panel. So y'all know what it is. Like, don't come up, act like y'all got some sense. But
Act like y'all got some home training.
yeah, while Danny's dropping the link, I have one final question for you. Being that we're in we're coming up on a new year, 2021. What is your vision for your group, and
Hmm.
what's next for your group?
I want my group to continue to grow, but I also want to focus on balance in the group. Okay. I want people to
Mm,
feel like your voice is being heard, but I don't want it to be the battle of the sexes that it's trying to turn itself into. I'm going to have to figure out a way to simmer that down because it's really becoming too much at this point. So that's pretty much going to be my focus. But I do want to continue to grow the group, and I want to people to continue to make connections, and I want to continue enjoying it as well. I mean, it's complete entertainment for me. I absolutely love the group. On my hardest days, when I don't laugh or don't smile at all, I go into my group and I am definitely going to get a smile. I am definitely going to laugh at something, and I am completely grateful that I have that in my life to turn to.
that's dope.
Okay.
I love to hear it.
Okay. Now I have one last question.
Hmm.
Now it's gonna be some bullshit.
Here we
Um,
go.
Uh
what would you say Black women's greatest problem is?
Black women's greatest problem?
Mhm. And for Black men, because it's Black men and Black women, but what would you say the biggest problem is as it pertains to mating and dating?
Enabling.
Enabling. I didn't expect
Enabling.
that.
I bet
Can
you
you give
didn't.
can
Enabling
you
bad behavior, rewarding bad behavior in your partner, and still expecting a different outcome. And I am guilty of it as well. That is something
mm,
because our emotions rule over logic in most women. Now, some women, when you mature, you're able to turn that around or find some type of balance in that. But I think for most women, that is going to be uh, a challenge for us because we are emotional creatures. So even though someone may be treating you in a way that is undeserving, your emotions can cause you to still to not, I don't want to say punish because it's not a punishment, but discipline. You can only be treated in a way that you allow someone to treat you. So if someone has done something to you that is unfavorable, disrespectful, or anything of that nature, and you turn around and you reward them for said disrespect or said behavior that you don't approve of, then what type of outcome do you really think you're going to get from this individual? Let's understand that we have to sacrifice our own emotions to get what we want at a certain point. Sometimes you're going to have to sit there and cry it out, and because in order to discipline this other person and teach them you don't treat me like that, you're going to have to sacrifice as well because you can't be around that person. You see what I'm saying? But
Right.
women don't want to go through that phase. Why? Because it hurts. You just want to be around someone that you love and that you care about. So you don't go through the full extent of making sure that this other person understands what you did to me is completely disrespectful and it's unacceptable. And saying it out of your mouth means absolutely nothing. You're going to have to show that person. And in order to show that person that, you're going to have to discipline yourself as well. It is a sacrifice on both ends, and you must make it in order to let this person know you do
Oh.
not treat me like that. And I feel like Black women, probably women just period, we have a hard time doing it.
Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good answers. Like I said, I didn't expect that. That was
Oh,
a great
cool.
answer. So true
Yeah.
too. Very, very true. First we have Chaos Rain. Hey Chaos, what did you think of the interview and what's your question?
I had to jump down because I'm on Bluetooth and it's going to be hard to hear. I'm going to jump back and come back on.
Okay. Thank you so much. O'Shea Lennox, welcome. What did you think of the interview and what is your question for Miss Terrilyn Nicole?
Oh, good. Good evening. How y'all doing today?
Good, how
Doing
are
good. How
you?
are you?
Hey,
Oh,
O'Shea.
I do fairly well. Fairly well. Thank the Lord. Look here. Now I caught. I don't think I caught the very first part of the interview, but from what I did hear, look here. Now this is more of a comment than an actual question. But the lady, she does sound real balanced, and that is a breath air in today's climate to actually hear a black woman that tends to be fairly balanced in what she's talking about. But not
Oh,
but now the other now let's look at the other thing. Now you keep saying I hear a lot of people, not necessarily her, saying something about marriage. But anyway, marriages marriages have decreased right along with the divorce rate. They have actually decreased. They haven't actually went up. But here's one of my biggest things about women. Yeah, that's right. You asked the question, who wants to get married more? I think it's something along that line. I'm gonna tell you from what I've seen, men, and she's right, men are much quicker to get married than women. I've seen it with my own eyes because of quite a bit of the women that I know, even start with my family. They're not married, but the majority of the guys in my family, they've been married at least, at least once. But I got look,
Well, men propose, right, O'Shea?
whoa. Men can propose all day long, but they can't make the woman marry.
So you
Now,
think women just turning down marriage proposals?
I know women are. I know they are. Because guess what? The large percentage of the women that I've talked to, I'm talking about talked to, not actually sexual activity with, but talked to, of age, over the age of 25, that's never been married. You know one thing that I found out? Most of them, most of them, if not all of them, knew of a guy, at least one guy, that they know that would treat them good, that they refuse to marry him. I'm telling you, look, I have not ran across.
Maybe they have legitimate reason. I mean, I've turned down a marriage proposal. I know other women have too. But sometimes you have a legitimate reason just because
But
somebody
that still
proposes.
adds to his point. But it
Yeah.
always seems to me as though a lot of people have this fairy tale um thought process in mind when somebody proposes marriage. And it's like most men And this is the crazy thing to me. Like most men feel like if somebody asks you to marry him, you marry him, and you just go on and y'all run off into
Right.
the sunset. And it does not exactly go like that. But I keep hearing that kind of mindset from a lot of guys. Let me read the super chat. Shout out to Lord Commander. He said, "You spoke of undeserving treatment. How do women react to undeserved treatment in the opposite way? How do women react to being treated too well?" Thank you so much, Lord
Mm.
Commander. Terrilyn, what do you think about that question?
I think that depends on the actual individual. I love good treatment. I can't really speak for someone who doesn't want to be treated well because that is all I accept at this age. Now, I think a lot of people uh, feel like a lot of women don't like nice treatment because they turn down nice guys, and that they actually want to be treated disrespectfully or in a mean way. And I don't agree with that at all. I just feel like women want special treatment from the person that they're interested in. And if they don't have that interest in you, regardless of how well you treat them, it's not going to be appreciated on the level that you would like.
Well, I'm sorry. I have one quick question that you just made me think of, Terlin. As it relates to sexual market value, so basically how men value or evaluate women, do you think that women properly assess their sexual market value, or do women overvalue themselves? So, for example, if we are looking at a number scale, and a man, men in general may say on the scale, you are a 6, but as a woman, I may say, no, I believe that I'm an 8. So, do you believe that women overvalue themselves as it relates to, their sexual market value?
Is
Absolutely
that an open
not.
question?
Well, I'll let Terrellyn, and then as we go around to let everybody chime in, you guys can also respond to that.
Okay.
You
I
said
don't
no,
feel.
Terrellyn?
I said no, absolutely not. I mean, who can tell me what I'm worth or what my standard is other than myself? You may feel like I'm not worth that, and that's fine. But I'm me. I'm the only person that's inside of this body. So the only person who really can determine that would be me. So I would say absolutely not.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Um,
you, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank Dennis, welcome to the show. What did you think of the interview, and what questions do you have for Miss Terrilyn Nicole?
Hey, what's up, y'all? Can y'all hear me? Pretty good.
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear
We
you
Hello.
can
fine.
hear you.
Yeah. So, shout out to the Breakdown crew. Shout out to Miss Bronze Gold. Yeah. I actually didn't end up getting the very beginning of the interview, but just like O'Shea Lonnie said, yeah, she sounds very balanced. She sounds very mature. She's not, on the extreme side of the spectrum when it comes to like men and women. I think it was a really good interview. So one thing that I'm not really understanding is I think a question was asked essentially that was like who benefits more from marriage, men or women, and I believe she said men. And I'm trying to figure out how is it that men benefit more from marriage than women do, because essentially what was basically said was just the fact that a married man just has easy access to sex. I mean, let's just be honest. But I definitely don't think that a man benefits more from marriage than women do, simply because he has a lot more to lose. And there was another thing. Oh, and I had to get some pushback to O'Shea Lonix, because the reason why women aren't getting married is because they're being told that they don't have to. Like that's been pushed for the past 10, 15 years. Like you can do it all on your own. And funny
Right.
enough, I actually just went on a couple of dates with women who are 37, no kids. And they really do believe that they can have it all. They really do believe that, like, at 38, 39, 40 years old, no kids, that they can literally just like uh, get off the happy-go-lucky, like train, and literally just pick up a man. They really do believe that. So yeah, I mean, it's I just fail to see how men benefit more from marriage than women do, considering that typically if the family falls apart, it's typically the man's response or the man's being blamed for it. The man also has to make more money when he has a family because he has to support the family. Like, there's a lot more responsibility that the man has to bring to the table when it comes to marriage. So, I mean, if she could
Hmm.
provide me some pushback on that, I think that would be good. But I just fail to see it, to be totally honest.
Well, I don't necessarily want to give you pushback. I definitely understand your perspective and why you feel that way. And of course, my opinion is going to be biased because I'm a woman. So I walk in that every day. I've had a lot of ex-boyfriends, let's just say that one cheated. Okay, I'm getting blamed for it because I am told that I need to do this or I need to do that to keep your attention. And it's a lot that goes in that. I don't even think we have the time to really dive deep because that is a subject within itself. So I'm going to say that I definitely understand where you're coming from, and I can understand why you would think that being a man would not benefit you as much in a marriage as it would a woman. I think that we're
Well,
both
mhm.
biased in that way.
Well, I think to be completely honest, we honestly talk about two different things. So we're talking about one, the workload in a marriage versus, and the uneven workload can be looked at as a benefit to the male because in today's
Aren't you
society,
kind of okay. Okay, there you go. I could
sorry,
hardly hear you.
um, in today's society, most women work outside the home and they work full time jobs because most homes rely on two incomes. So yes, if we're
Hmm.
talking just examining the workload, the work women, we can say that the workload is uneven in most homes, whereas the woman works outside the home and then she also tends to the children and takes care of the home. But if we're talking about like who has the greater burden, yes, that falls on the man. The man has the greater burden. If there's some sort of financial issues in the home, like the man is going to be the one that's judged or who's looked at to be the one to rectify that. So, in addition, asset wise, typically men have more to lose if the marriage goes south.
Mm. And shout out to Jerome Whiteside. I would say men benefit from marriage, but women benefit from divorce, if that makes sense.
Okay, okay,
Hmm.
okay.
Okay. Shout out to Lord Commander. He said, women today, either I get what I want or I will remain single. This typically includes an entanglement with a man she desires, strong along forever.
Hmm.
You know what? And that kind of brings me to another question, Terrilyn. What would you say? Would you say situationships are growing faster than real relationships? Like, is it an even number?
Hmm.
Hmm. Growing as far as what exactly? Relationships that eventually lead to marriage or just relationships
No,
just
I'm
to
saying
say
like people getting in relationships versus people getting in situationships. Which would you
That
say
there's more
was
people entering situationship and relationships.
definitely
yeah.
situationships.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Well, we have the blue blazer up here. Blue
Welcome to the
blazer.
panel.
Hey, I know this space. I didn't realize
Hey,
that was you. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Thank you, ladies, for bringing me up onto the panel. I am preparing myself to be vilified to all. So, women, you're gonna hate me, and men, you're gonna hate me too. And I don't mind that. If anyone knows me in my personal life, I'm a lone wolf anyway, so I could care less. But number one, when it comes to unfortunately, I didn't get to see the entire interview.
Hmm.
Um, Miss Bronze Gold, I do appreciate you coming up here, and it is a fresh breath. I like the women's perspective. Myself and my wife watch a lot of this stuff amongst the manosphere, and we tend to call it a bunch of crying men. Well,
Uh-oh.
I do.
Uh-oh.
Um,
Okay.
I personally, and I speak from the perspective of an ADOS, foundational black, whatever you want to call it, black man in America. And I often look at a lot of black men who go in this space and complain, and I'd be like, listen, man, y'all are, here's the problem, right? Black women run around saying they're unprotected, which is absolutely true and absolutely false. So when black women are running around saying they're unprotected, the 100% truth is that you are protected on the small scale, on the micro level, when it comes to being protected by, oh, if somebody does something, this man will run up and be.
Is it me or did he go out?
No,
He
I was
went
just gonna
out to
say that
me
he
as
did go
well.
out.
Blue
Where you
Blazer,
aren't protected is the same thing. Sorry?
Blue Blazer, you're actually fading in and out. So, because you sound like you were getting ready to get on a roll.
Yeah, he
Right.
Um,
kind of
I,
can. I think we can
yeah.
hear him
So,
now.
okay. The
Oh,
last thing I heard was you were talking about black women are protected on a micro level, but not on a macro level.
correct.
Okay.
So
So-
on a micro level, if somebody gets it messed up, you know, we gonna handle this in the streets, homeboy. I'm gonna beat that ass, right? Whereas, in reality, and this even goes back to the culture, because you, as the woman, will laud me beating that guy's ass, as opposed to, damn, don't beat that guy's ass. Call the cops on him, get him arrested, because now he's gonna have to deal with the fact that he's got to deal with court for months. And now he can't go to work, and this, that, and the third. So there's an entire industry or a loophole. Now, often a lot of this comes from the damage that
He
Oh
went.
man,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, because he sounded like he was about to go in. Yeah, I'm not
there
sure what
he
happened.
is.
I'm
There we
sorry,
go.
I don't know. I'm having technical difficulties with my internet. But a lot of this comes from, like, for example, I'm what you call a mama's boy, which is a
Hmm.
terrible thing. This is a black man who's raised by a single black woman. She couldn't teach me how to be a man. She's concerned now, how are you able to have such a strong marriage that you have? Well, it took a lot of swallowing and seeing a lot of BS and realizing I don't want to be like said guys, right?
Hmm.
So I don't want to be like these guys who are out here not building, right? Then you have guys like us who blame the Pookie and Ray Ray, right?
Hmm.
Now you see me in a suit and tie. Everybody looks at me in a suit and tie and is like, oh, and here's my soft spoken voice. Don't nobody know that, I'm a big time gangster disciple. I done been to jail, been shot 5 times, all that shit, right? So I am that thug that you wanted, but back in the day, that attracted a certain type of female. So
Hmm.
we have to realize this as in order the course correction, and this is why men are running at you women, because the course correction is like this. For example, let's use a Kevin Samuel. He tried to correct men, but unfortunately the women were still going after Future. And the reason you're going after quote unquote the local Future is because physically he can protect you, right? However, now what happens is, well, the men, we don't want to be like Kevin Samuels. We want to be like Future. So
Mm.
correction is we are making the attempt to make the woman raise your standards so that next time, instead of me trying to be 50 Cent and getting
Mm-hmm.
shot 5 times in front of my mama, I can try to be Kevin Samuels. And instead of getting shot, someone can give me a shot to open a fucking conglomerate. It's about the scale that we think on. And in
Mm.
terms of the marriages, I heard the young lady say, well, just because. So my question is this, because I've always wondered this. If you're in a relationship and a man proposes to you, and this is where men think, okay, you
Damn,
He cut
I
out.
can't hear
I
him.
know, right? And he was talking some good
Oh
stuff too.
God.
Something interesting that he pointed out was that I do notice that men, specifically in the space, tend to want to push that women need to increase their standards as opposed to putting the onus on men for doing what they have to do. It's kind of like, well, if women will increase their standards, if women will just do this, that it will improve the community, as opposed to, having men
Mother
or
out there
enforcing for
working.
men to
Let me
stand up in a
school
leadership
you.
position. Go
Let
ahead.
me school you on this. Only pretty women can increase their standards.
Oh, is that what it is? I mean, no,
Yes, only
what I'm
pretty women.
saying, when I say that, they say
Only
like
pretty women can
women
have
should
standards.
increase their standard as it relates to
Hmm.
not wanting to deal with Pookies and Ray Rays. If we didn't have women that would be willing to deal with them, then maybe there wouldn't be so many Pookies and Ray Rays. As opposed to putting the onus on men, the men that are engaging in this degenerate behavior, or the men that are, leaving their
No,
families.
this is the thing. This is the thing. So when you're talking about standards and potential, so let's say you have somebody who is 44, and they're a fry cook, but they're in school for whatever, let's say an engineering degree or whatever, right? But he's 44
Mm-hmm.
and he's a fry cook at McDonald's. Let's just say he had some hard times, whatever. A lot of men would encourage a woman to date him, but no, you have some men that would encourage a woman, well, yeah, give him a chance, yada, yada, yada. But now, let's just say the fallout happens. He doesn't complete his degree. Um, he knocks you up. You then have a baby by somebody who doesn't have anything and who doesn't have anything going for themselves. But then they'll tell you, well, these other races of women will give men a chance at whatever. They'll love the black man. They're gonna do whatever for the black man. But our women
Well,
have all, they'll say our standards are ridiculous if we don't want that same dude.
Well, I hear the double talk, but primarily the focus is that women need to do better. The focus in this space is that the black community is in a state of peril
No, you're
because of black
misunderstanding me.
women.
The
Oh no, no,
woman,
no. We weren't
We were saying that that's what you were implying. We're talking about some of the commentary that
the
we hear
rhetoric
in this
here.
space. Yeah.
Right.
oh
Let
yeah,
me
yeah,
read
yeah.
this super chat and then I want you to finish your point. Shout out to Lord Commander. He says a woman's desire for a type of man is a market force that men cannot ignore. If the future type men are getting the best women, men will follow suit. Lord Commander, I think that
Mm.
is a interesting point.
He has a
I
point,
think
but
it,
nobody's saying ignoring. But that, like women correcting their standards or improving their standards isn't the sole thing that's going to fix the problems in the black community.
yeah. It's interesting that men will follow suit. I think they'll follow suit in certain aspects, but I guess I
Well,
get your
well,
point.
hold on. Let me get in here because I think this is.
What is going on with the men's audio?
Y'all cutting us
I don't
out.
know, child.
Child,
He said, y'all
now
cutting us
Oh,
out.
my
you
bad,
better
You
y'all.
heard
start
me
I'm
on the
super
practicing
Is
sorry.
this
helping.
the Roger Report? Hold on.
Oh gosh, no, not yet.
that
But Roger's
that was
probably around here listening
Dennis.
somewhere. But Dennis, you can, one of y'all can go.
So I think, and yes, unfortunately, so here's what happens. It keeps, and
Hey, is that better?
Bronze Gold actually mentioned this. We keep going tit for my hurt, well, 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 my hurt. Here's why black women don't follow suit on black men. 1000% period. Buck breaking, right? You got to sit there and see us get ripped the fuck apart, tarred and feathered, the strongest men in
Facts.
front of you. So what did that make you do? It's just like I don't believe in beating our children because that came from slavery. It came from you hopping in, saving my life, from being killed by the slave master whipping me to death. So that's why black women are the most adept at whipping their kid ass, right? It's true. But in terms of how we can build ourselves,
They about to call you Simpson in the chat though.
Honey, he may not be a simp, but that
Uh,
microphone show is, baby.
yeah, that microphone showing out.
did I
And he
did I
talking
blink
some
out? I
good
think I
stuff.
went to
Yeah,
Boss,
you
you
went
dropped your
out
headphones.
again. Try again. Sorry. Go ahead, Blue Blazer.
Okay. Are you guys able to hear me now?
We can hear
Yes.
you, but you probably gonna go out.
All right.
But
Let me take these headphones off. Hold on. Now I know for sure y'all can hear me. Y'all just gonna hear the street sounds in the background too.
Yeah, we can hear you good now.
Okay. So here's the issue, right? So again, that bug breaking broke down an entire familial unit. Until we are able to come together as a familial unit, nobody's going to be any better. And we keep tit for tatting with pain and this, that, and the third. So here's the deal. Yes, at the end of the day,
Dang it.
Yeah, I give up.
baby, it's witchcraft
Um,
going on around here now. Y'all
I
stop it.
know that. You know what
And
it
every
is? The
time
white
it's
man
about
holding them
he's
back.
really about to go in.
Right.
Yeah, you know what that is? The white man holding them back. I'm trying to tell y'all.
Oh my
But
God.
Dennis, maybe we'll have better luck with seeing if Dennis can get through if his audio issue is corrected. Dennis, what you got on the topic?
Hey, is that better now?
Yes.
bottom of the barrel, I'm cool here, as opposed to realizing that other men globally are not fucking with us. This is why the police
Um,
keep fucking us over. This is why we keep, until we decide, you know what? I'm gonna put my foot on the neck of these Pookies and Ray Rays, which I used to be. Like I said, gang member, shot 5 times, been to prison, all that shit. I got shot 5 times in front of my mother 3 days before Mother's Day in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. That's the TRAFO for anybody who sells drugs. So I'm not talking out of my ass. Now I work in insurance and financial services. I just rolled over a fucking $90,000 IRA 2 days ago, right? So I've increased myself instead of doing the same Pookie and Ray Ray shit. A lot of us are afraid to attempt to make something of ourselves, right? Now, here's what happens. As a married man, I get approached all the time by lesser quality Black women, right? Why? Because they realized I've been vetted by a woman. So I'm obviously one who's going to go ahead and protect and provide. I obviously took an oath before God, if that's what you believe, or an oath before the witnesses to protect and provide for this woman who is my family, who I selected as my family. So at the end of the day, everything again is going to fall on my head. And if you don't think, Black man, that it ain't going to fall on your head, fucking think again, because society is ran by men. And so the men of other societies are looking at us and they're looking at us disrespecting our woman. And yes, I get it. Trust me, it's a whole bunch of shit that the women do wrong. But guess what? We would sound like how some political people are crying about Donald Trump. Well, how you the head and you the HNIC. If you want to be the HNIC, the boss, the fucking king, then heavy is the head that wears the crown. And you got to take this shit the way it fucking is. Otherwise, go be a bitch boy. But unfortunately, you know, the bitch boys who are okay with being that. I digress. I was getting a little emotional there.
You know what? From what I could hear that Blue Blazer said, he's on that good stuff. And I agree with a lot of what he's saying. And he is right regarding Black men. Like, you all can't complain about our society being a
Am I still delayed?
matriarchal society. But I'm wrapping up, just 1 second, Dennis. But at the same time, you want Black women to fix the problems in the society. If Black women come together to fix what's wrong with the society, you don't think that they're just going to hand it over and say, here, now we're ready for a patriarchy. I think that men should step up in leadership positions and, do what has to be done in our society. In order for things to get better. That does not mean that women don't have work that they also need to do and that have, a shit ton of things that they also, need to focus on. But I think that men should be taking leading roles for any change that needs to happen in our society. And then I think that was Dennis that was trying to in. Well, before that, let me read Jack Spade.
Yeah, read the super chat. Shout out to Jack Spade.
Thank you, Jack Spade. He says, yes, give the short order cook a chance to date. but y'all turn around and create a child or children with the guy. Stop the mess. Jack Spade, I can't disagree with that. I personally think that if a man is on his grind, that he really shouldn't have time for dating and mating. And I think that as a woman, you may see potential in that man, but let him reach his potential first and then go back and holler at him.
If I can, I want to
Is that
speak
is
to.
that better, y'all?
I want to say something briefly.
Hold on 1 second. Let's get Dennis in, and then Chaos will have you in right after that. Go ahead, Dennis. We can hear you now.
Okay. I'm not delayed, right?
Not at all.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I mean, let's just go back. There was something that somebody said about I think it was somebody said something about Pookies and Ray Rays while they're attracted to them. A lot of guys also got to understand, or Pookies and Ray Rays, or women are attracted to Pookies and Ray Rays because they provide protection. That's incorrect. Pookie and Ray Rays don't necessarily provide protection, but what they do
Physical
provide
protection.
is they provide that rush and that thrill. They provide that excitement that turns women on. And also, a lot of guys forget about this too. A lot of Pookies and Ray Rays are really out here, like, smoking weed, doing drugs and stuff like that. So you also got to remember when she actually hops on board with Pookie and Ray Ray, like, using drugs and doing Molly and smoking weed, that feels good to her. So you also got to remember that she's going to start associating those good feelings with Pookie and Ray Ray. And as a result, she's just going to keep coming back and coming back. And that's how a lot of girls end up getting addicted on Pookies and Ray Rays, because to be honest, they just feel good around them. I mean, if you just smoke some weed, like, I ain't going to go down that rabbit hole.
A lot of these
that's
intellects and hardworking men smoke fire up when they go for work too.
I'm about to say, bro, I'm waiting for my weed man right now.
I mean, yeah, but I think I gotta, because especially in the black community, like, there have been a lot of people, like, saying, like, why they keep going for the Pookies and the Ray Rays, and it's because, again, they provide that excitement, they provide that thrill that a lot of women just aren't getting with the average man. That's all I'm trying to say. I think there were a couple other things too, but that's the main thing. But let me I think I got my mic issue figured out. So let me drop back for a little bit.
Thank you, Dennis. We appreciate you. And then
I want to get this
Chaos, go ahead and chime in.
Yeah, to the lady, Miss Brown's goddess, bronze gold. This group that you created 2 years ago, what's the average, like, like how big is it, like, numbers wise?
Like 15
We have currently 10,800 members.
So there's no limit on the Facebook to how many people could join. Am I right?
No.
Interesting.
And I believe it's 10,800 and maybe 11,800.
Okay. Well, from what I'm hearing from this stream so far, it sounds like it's a well thought of group, and look like everybody's enjoying themselves, and it looks like there's no restriction, but it's balanced in a way. So yeah, I probably would check the group out personally. I'm not sure about the
We
mate.
love to have you.
Finding mates, I don't know about that, but if people enjoy themselves and conversating, like being real, yeah, it wouldn't hurt. And to be honest with you, Miss Gold, I think that's what the average black people like. They like to go to groups that are like this because it lets them express themselves. And that's the key. You get me?
Right.
You don't want nobody faking it. I mean, you might find some that will slip for the rocks, but overall, it's a good look. So I'll check the group out.
Okay, great. We would love to have you.
Well,
thank you.
What group is this?
I do. It's eligible. Is it the most eligible bachelor?
Oh, okay. I can't go.
Most eligible
Okay,
bachelor.
I can't go.
You're married.
You know what, Blue Blazer? I thought that's actually where you had got the link from. Where did you get the link from?
It was in the chat.
No, I mean, like, are you subscribed to the channel? I didn't even know.
Yeah, I'm subscribed to your channel. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
I know you be seeing me all over the. Like I said, I'm an open book, so I'm the same way off Facebook, on live, YouTube. I'm not an internet nigga, so this shit is new to me. Like, I was so this is why when I talk about the Pookie and Ray Rays, and I actually want to address, Dennis, what you were saying. When I'm talking about the protection from Pookie and Ray Ray, I'm not saying they feel like they're going to be all out protected, but the protection is this. They know that if something goes bump in the night, dude's willing to put himself on the line. He's willing to go out there and thug it out and fight it out and aggressively, physically. We're talking about the primal nature, right? Before we had houses and shit, right? The one who goes out there and physically can kill is the one who can protect you. If there's a fucking bear and I got a pocket knife,
Yeah.
my wife ain't expected to go there. She's expecting me to go after this bear with a pocket knife.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
Right?
He's
So,
right. And from a woman's standpoint, we do absolutely attribute like masculinity. And sometimes it's pseudo masculinity. Pookie and Ray Ray, there may be guys that ain't even hard, but they have this pseudo masculinity as if, you know, and it provides a false sense of security for a lot of women.
that's my point. So it does provide that false sense of security. And so
Yeah.
you feel, wow, this guy will keep me safe. If somebody, you know, disrespects me in the middle of the street, I'm not going to have to worry about him calling the cops and the cops taking however long to get here.
It's
I'm
true.
going to have
I'm
to worry
telling
about
you,
him.
when you see a you know, let's say you know, an IT guy who is wearing glasses and he maybe kind of have a scrawny build, or you know, he may look small in stature, and you know, you don't really think of, oh, he's going to be able to physically protect me as a woman, you know. And that's why we hear a lot of times in this space about women looking over men who are 5'3", or you know, kind of like this heightism that women have. But I'm going to tell you, that's one of our strongest basic needs, is the need to feel security, to obtain security from our partner. So like, as women, we want to feel protected, and sometimes we can't identify the fact that this is pseudo masculinity. If somebody comes busting, you know, Pookie about to run for the hills, you know what I mean? Because of the way he carries himself, as if he's confident, he has all this bravado, and you know, ain't nobody gonna mess with you when I'm around. Like, and women kind of fall for that, and like, oh, you know, it makes me feel safe.
Hey, no, see, Rose, I totally agree, and this is a little bit off topic, but to Leanna Thomas, you causing a lot of commotion in the chat. Just come up on the panel, man, because
Yeah,
like,
I see Leanna going in.
th-
Leanna, you are certainly welcome to join us. If you want to speak your piece on the panel, sis, feel free to hit the link and come up and join us.
And just dropped the fresh new link in there. So
I do have a question for the fellas. So I asked a question earlier to Miss Terrilyn Nicole, and the question was in relation to women miscalculating their SMV. So she said that, you know, she doesn't believe that women overvalue themselves. When we first talked about the incident regarding Miss Average at Best, I talked about one's inherent value versus sexual market value, and they're completely different. And I do think as women, we do get caught up in, like, you know, a man, like feeling like a man is trying to tell us that we're not valuable because he sees us as a 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever. But do you guys personally think that women overvalue themselves as it relates to their sexual market value?
well, absolutely. I think I've told this on the panel before. I was dating a girl who, like, you know, in my eyes, she was about maybe a 6.5. But the reason why I was dating her, because she was a really, really good woman. And I kind of did this experiment. I said, like, you know, I'm curious because I know what my experience is like on Tinder and Bumble. I wonder what your experience would be like. So she took a couple pictures. She actually created a Tinder profile. Literally within 24 hours, she had 15 matches. And that's in one day, and that's just on one app. And
Wow.
she's like, you know, she's better than average, but she's definitely not a 9 or a 10. But
Oh yeah,
yeah, I
that's,
mean,
yeah, it'd be like
but
that, especially on those dating apps.
well, yeah, I mean, and I've actually had girls that I've dated when I was like, you know, maybe 25. Literally, they told me they were like, they've literally been single for maybe a week, and they have hundreds and hundreds of matches. And literally, I had one girl pull out her phone. I mean, white chick, she's beautiful and everything like that. But she literally put out her phone and she said, Dennis, I chose you out of the hundreds and hundreds of matches. She showed them to me. And this isn't just a week.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, of course, like, you know,
But a lot of it is
a lot of women.
it's like a meat market. Like
No,
most of those matches they're looking to kind of hook up.
yeah, but here's the thing, C Rose. For some reason, a lot of women don't. A lot of women can't separate the attention. They can't separate the fact that a lot of guys are just matching with them just for short term casual. But what they do is they misequate that with saying, okay, well, if I can get all these guys short term, that means that these guys are long term options, or these guys will marry me.
Oh
And that's
yeah,
incorrect.
absolutely.
And so yeah, so what it does is it definitely, it just literally, I mean, you have sixes walking around thinking that they're nines and tens. And here's the thing, like, you know,
For us,
the funny thing is, we talk about this in the black manosphere. If you even go over to the white manosphere, they talk about the same things. I mean, you ever heard of Rollo Tomasi, Tom Likas, Aaron Clary? They all talk about the same thing.
Of course.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, the more options that a woman have, the more inflated her ego is going to be. But again, a lot of them forget that a lot of these guys don't want anything long term, but most women can't separate sort of that attention that they're getting.
You know what? That's a good point, Dennis. And I do also want to let you answer the question really, too. I just want to read the super chat really quickly. And there was another comment that Danny had just highlighted, and it was in relation to Pookie and Ray Ray. Okay, I'll let you answer it. Pookie and Ray Ray building Wakanda. I want to say, as a woman, we're typically gonna be people, period, who are not having all of their needs met. You're more focused on your own immediate needs than you are with the needs of the community. For example, if you have a person who is homeless and they come to a they have like a, you know, they're having food lines, a soup kitchen, and the person is eating in abundance, you can't tell that person, well, they're starving people in Africa, or save some for the next person, and think that they're really going to be concerned about the next person, because they're concerned about, you know, number one, immediate gratification, and number two, having their own basic needs met. We're so focused on we don't feel protected and secure in our own community, so we're not focused on whether or not they're going to build the community. But we're just trying to, you know, get that sense of protection, you know, that and that immediate gratification that we can get from being with this person who seems like he will provide protection for us. Okay, I'll shut up after I read Leo's super chat. He says, being able to reject a ton of men trying to sleep with them typically makes women feel like they're even more attractive than they are. Okay, Leo. Okay, sorry about that. I know I was kind of going in, but is it Blue Blazer? You want to go ahead and respond?
So to the SMV, and Bronze Dipped, you answered this, and you definitely answered it from a woman's perspective. Yes, nobody can tell me, you know, my value. But then if a man tries to approach you and he ain't got a certain income level, you're gonna be like, nigga, you a 4, get out of here. But here's how it is, right? Because I actually heard this. Someone was saying, you know, the woman, like, let's use the average at best, right? She's a 5, physically, is what she said. She's average, right? Now, then a lot of women were like, well, you got to take into account, you know, she's done this and she's got 6 figures. Here's the and actually, I'll make this even more of a point. So my wife works for the U.S. government, and I tell her to her face, your degrees and your position do not matter to me, because at the end of the day, it goes like this. And women, I want you to understand this. Your value has nothing to do with the money. You making an income and you having these businesses, that's great. But the men you're seeking, for example, a man on a Kevin Samuels level, you don't give a damn about your money, number one. Number two, you're going into it with the intent of that I make $100,000 as a woman, but my intent is when I get with this man, I make $0 because he's supposed to take care of everything.
Right.
And men should want to do that.
A lot of you guys say that, but I don't know a lot of women, especially Black women, who don't go into marriages with the intent of being a stay-at-home wife and mother. I don't know a lot of women
anything to the bills, right?
Right. I don't know a lot of women who actually think that they don't have to do anything as far as taking care of a household as it relates to the marriage. I do know some women who may have had the option of whether or not they didn't have to work, but they probably had a supplemental income. But I don't know a whole lot of women who don't contribute to their households. Period. And I kind of, it's like men. Let me just say this, because I noticed that men will throw this out there. Well, men don't care about how much money you make. And I'll say that at a certain level, a man doesn't care. But if a man is making six figures, and let's just say he's at 100,000, right? And let's say she's bringing in 50 to 60. I'm pretty sure most people want a decent life. Nowadays, to have a decent life, generally a 2-income home is required.
But hold on, Sister George.
That's great, but if I'm making
black people live
hold
above
on.
their means. Most black people live above their means. They're gonna be trying to live like they got making 300,000.
You do have a point there, concrete.
If I'm making 100,000, Sister George, and you're making 50, I've already able to provide that comfortable life. Your extra 50 going out to work, that's cool, but your intent is not to come in and add your 50 to my 100. Your intent is, wow, that man's making 100 grand. He's a good provider. Let me get with him so he can be a provider. The issue lies in this.
So wait a minute. So let me just make sure I understand.
Yeah.
Do you think the majority, because there have been stats that came out now, it may not be for every age range, but do you think that the majority of women that are married get to keep all of their money?
No, the majority of women who are married do not get to keep all of their money. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you're looking at the result. I'm looking at the intent. For example, premeditated murder, right? So I intended on murdering somebody versus this guy just runs up on me, tries to beat me down, and then I stab him in the neck. Well, I didn't intend to murder him. Right? But if I'm like, oh, that guy's got a gold chain, I'm gonna stab him in the neck and take his chain, I intended to do so. So women's intent is not to go into the marriage and have to earn an income. And it shouldn't be. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with intending to be taken care of. That should be your position. Right?
Well,
you should.
Here's the thing. Let me get in here, because Sister George, I think this is what we're trying to say. When men say that your money doesn't matter, we're not 100% saying that it means absolutely nothing. But what we're saying is that's not the most important reason why I'm with you. And if even if you go back to the Kevin, the chick, when she did the follow-up interview with the other woman, she said that, like, she doesn't want to have to pay for dates and stuff like that. But I think it's funny, because I'm just like, well, wait a minute, you make six figures, you can't pay for $100 dinner date. You want to date a man who makes six figures and you make six figures, but you don't want to have to pay for the dates and stuff like that. It doesn't make sense.
She was saying she dated guys who basically were using her, who were bums, who she had to pay for everything.
Mm-hmm.
But women,
she was dating guys who wanted her to pay for studio time and dates.
Right.
So no.
So but I just got to clear that up, because when we say that, we're not saying that your money means absolutely nothing. We're saying, six figures goes a long way. Like, I don't know where people got this whole notion, because a lot of people also forget this. Six figures means $100K to $999,999. That's a lot of money. I don't know who doesn't think that's a lot of money. But
everybody's downplaying it like it's only six figures.
Right.
Yeah, you know what? And I've noticed a lot of women say that six figures is not any money. And I'm like, you guys sound so freaking retarded when you
if
say
you live
stuff
in New
like
York,
that.
it ain't no money, but baby, I live in Atlanta.
No. It's still more money than most people earn within the United States.
If you're African American,
right?
Yeah, and it's even less. for African Americans. So to sit around and say that six figures isn't any money, no, don't say that. It just sounds retarded to me. Like, come on, man.
Right. And
No.
Sister George, again, I think the biggest thing that a lot of men have a problem with is we don't have a problem with making the six figures. We have a problem with the intent of a girl getting with us or a woman getting with us, and that be the first thing that's on their checklist. That's the biggest thing. It's the intent behind it. Because Shannon Sharp said
That's
this too.
valid.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Shannon Sharp said that. Shannon Sharp said, I'm looking for a woman to date. I'm not looking for somebody to sponsor. If you listen to all of these women on these level up channels, I mean, I'm not going to give any content creators any publicity, but I mean, we all know like these level up channels, these get the bag channels, even on Kevin Samuels, it sounds like they want to be sponsored. They don't want a relationship. They don't want
Hmm.
to get to know the man. They're literally just looking at the man as a
Exactly.
piggyback
They're
bird.
leading. Yep. They're leading with the fact that he has to make six figures. But we did get a super chat, and I want to hear from Terrilyn what she thinks on this
Right.
specific part of the conversation because she hasn't said anything. I'm interested to hear her thoughts.
Baby
But in that
Terrilyn will
super
sit back
chat,
and watch, honey.
listen, I want to hear what you got to
Yes.
say because I heard she put that out there how she kind of refrains from speaking, but she does definitely seem objective, and this is a topic that we've talked about a lot since the Average at Best video came out, and they've heard all of our thoughts on the topic, so we want to hear what you have to say. But Lord Sanders says every chick that calls into Kevin Samuel's show calls in with 100K in student loans, then say they don't want to work. Make it make sense, please. Um, I agree with that. I think that even when, as a woman, typically as Black women, being that we're the largest group of degree or new degrees, a lot of times we do have a lot of student debt attached to those degrees. So even if we're making
Mm.
$100,000, we may have $150,000 in student debt. Not to say
Yep.
that she does, because I don't know. I mean, she has a pet grooming business. You don't have to have a degree to create a pet grooming business, but a lot of women do tend to come with, a large, massive amount of debt, and you're wanting to marry, and that debt becomes well, it's not community because that was debt that you incurred prior to the marriage, but still, he would likely be paying probably more bills and or helping you pay that student loan debt down. So something to consider. But Bro Curlin says,
Shout out to Curly.
he says, yeah, it's like I said a couple weeks ago. It's not that her money is worthless. It's an added bonus. The intangibles are where a woman's value is. Say that, Bro Curlin. Say it, say it,
Thank
say
you,
it.
babe.
And then Miss Terrilyn. So what
Mhm.
are your thoughts?
I'm going to keep it real brief. I think the part that doesn't sit well with the man is the entitlement aspect. A woman feeling as if she's entitled to said treatment and that you are obligated to give it to her. I feel like if the entitlement is removed from the situation, then they would have no problems with it. You have a lot of people who feel they are entitled to receive treatment based on what terms, like what are you really providing. So what I see just personally is this, it's the entitlement. They don't really have a problem providing. It's just the entitlement behind it. If you feel like, why do you feel like I'm entitled to give this to you based upon what grounds?
Agreed. Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. Just like you said. I mean, men don't have a problem providing. If we've run across a woman who we deem is worth it, but it's the entitlement. It's why do you think that you deserve? Because also, I mean, and we just got to keep this 100 too. We've been ignoring something, and a lot of people haven't talked about this. This is just my opinion. This is just my life experience. But a Black man reaching six figures and a white man reaching six figures is kind of two different things, because from my experience of what I had to go through, going through the education system, the school system, it's different. And so I think that a lot of women, especially a lot of Black women, maybe they fail to take that into consideration, that a Black man making six figures and a white or an Asian man making six figures is just different. And I think that that's something that people
Good
just aren't
point. We
talking
don't
about.
think about what goes into it. Good point, Dennis. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very
Right.
good
That is
point.
something
Shit,
to
it
think
took me
about.
to get to 115 this year. I'm trying to get to 122 in collected premium so I can become an elite insurance agent this year and qualify for the $1 million round table. But that involves me going out there collecting $122,000 worth of premium for the company. So far, I'm at 115. So if anybody got a quick $10,000 IRA or something, help a brother out.
Yeah. But shout out to Lord Commander for another super chat. He says, "Bingo, we want to provide, but the entitlement throws us back. Imagine your waitress demanding a $50 tip before you sit down to eat. Child, that's out.
Well,
Um, well, we're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna give Dennis and Blue Blazer a chance to have their final thoughts, and then we're gonna give it over to Miss Nicole. What are your final thoughts, Dennis?
Yeah, so shout out to everybody on the panel. Appreciate the discussion. I think one thing that we sort of forget is um, we know that women have taken on, like, more provider roles, more independent. I can do it all myself, like, sort of things, which is fine, which is cool. But if you want to sort of be in that leadership, or I guess you can say dominant role, with that role comes performing. And what you can't do is you can't say, well, like, I don't want to perform with my man, or I don't want to live up to his expectations. I don't want to bring anything to the table when it comes to relationships or marriage. But when I go in and I get my paycheck, then I can perform for my boss and act right. If you're going to take on a leadership role more as women, you also have to perform when it comes to your relationships too. I don't understand why, like, this is such a huge thing for most women to hear. It's just like you can't expect to just have the man just fall, the man of your dreams, the high value six figure man. You have to be able to perform for them too. You also have to compete for them too. You can't just compete at your workplace, and then not compete when it comes to relationships and marriage. And I think that a lot of women are starting to get that and understand, if that means that they have to be single until they're 40, 50 years old. I mean, well, like, that's just going to have to be they just may have to learn the hard way. But, like, now that, quote unquote, the world is becoming equal, and that, like, men and women are roughly on the same playing field, um, you're going to have to perform when it comes to your relationships. And that's one of the things that men, we've known ever since we were born, is it's like, we have to perform, we have to compete. And it's not just performing and competing just at our jobs or with other men. Now it's actually, we have to compete against women too. So I think that, like, as far as coming to a solution and everything like that, I think that this space is really making a lot of progression, and it's something that I like to see. But like, you're going to have to compete for your men too. And especially, a lot of men are recognizing in the space, well, like, a lot of men are just leaving from the table. So um, if that's going to be something, if you really do value your men, you're going to have to come back to the table. And if you don't, well, I mean, the life and society is just going to move on. So that's all I got to say. Peace.
Thank you,
Okay.
Dennis. We
Thank you so
appreciate
much,
you.
Dennis.
Absolutely.
Special
Thank
shout
you for your
out to
comments. Go ahead, Danny. Go ahead.
go ahead. No, you finish up.
Thank you. I was just thanking Dennis. His commentary is always welcome. He complimented Ms. Terrilyn Nicole for being balanced, but he typically provides a pretty balanced perspective too. he's a man, so there are certain things that he takes up, pretty firm stance on, but he definitely typically provides a pretty balanced viewpoint, and he is always does very well at articulating his points and supporting them with logical arguments. So we appreciate you and thank you for joining us, Dennis. And then we got a super chat from Nuruddin. He says he is right. Kevin Kelly of Kitchens and Cocktails was disrespected by Black women in his own restaurant, and yet they still want him to build. Wow. Thank you, Nuruddin. We appreciate you. And then Blue Blazer.
Once again, thank you, ladies, for having me up here. I appreciate it. Like to have your input. I'll probably let my wife get on with y'all. Well, not let her, but ask her to get on with y'all one day. She doesn't really get into the social media too much. I want to say this, and I think this conversation actually helped to bring this whole gender war, whatever, forward. First of all, I'm not red pill. I'm not blue pill. I'm not black pill, not pink pill. I'm no pill. So I'm a little different.
You would technically be considered a blue pill or purple pill since you're married, but that's just, never mind. I'm over here. Okay.
Nah, I feel you. At the end of the day, I'm no pill. So that's the way I look at it. But one thing that I see is entitlement. And I see it on both ends. So Miss Bronze Gold Boutique brought it up that the men have the issue with women feeling entitled to protection and provision. But men realize that y'all come out here looking entitled too. Just because you make it to six figures don't mean you get the woman. Okay. You still might lack that quote unquote swag. And yes, that swag is important, or that swagger, or that style, or that je ne sais quoi. You might not know how to talk to the woman to turn her on mentally and physically. You need to work on those things. But the biggest thing of all is find somebody who works for you, right? At the end of the day, she don't, and these lists, fellas get rid of these lists, ladies get rid of these lists. I hear too many guys, oh, she got to be, she has to have these breasts and this butt and no waist and da-da-da. Okay, well then, homeboy, I hope you're making $6 million because you got to pay for that. You're not? Okay, so sit down. So, gentlemen, again, it belongs to us. And here's why I say that. When you become married, that woman a woman, and again, this is why I said y'all not gonna like, the women ain't gonna like me either. I'm gonna have to get a security detail. The woman is your property, for lack of a better term. At the end of the day, she is no longer, for example, my wife is not her last name. She is now Mrs. Blue Blazer, MRS, meaning Misters, meaning belonging to Mr. Blue Blazer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what it is. So at the end of the day, brothers, you got to realize this woman becomes your property. A woman has no last name. She either has her father's last name or her husband's last name. So that's one point. Number two comes to the age. There's a young man out here who's wasting the hell out of a woman's time. And I got so railroaded by a bunch of gentlemen because I said, see, young nigga, I should come take your bitch. And all the men got mad at me. And I was like, well, y'all understand. We're in this age, 37 to 50, where we're saying we want these young, virile, 20-something-year-old women. And then this nigga's sitting here wasting her time because he ain't married to her yet. So I'm about to, come at him like it is what it is. I should be happy a good woman took me and dusted me off. Yes, she did dust me off. She dusted me off after I started making my money, and then we encountered each other. But thank you, madam. So at any rate, man, get off the entitlement. Stop thinking that because you've made it to a certain level that shit's supposed to fall at your feet. Because at the end of the day, just like I said here, right? I'm in an elite position as a salesperson in insurance and financial services, right? I'm hedging toward the elites. My homeboy was like, oh, you're at 115,000. They can't let you in? No, because I have to be at 122,000. And that's just the qualifying level, right? So then there are people who are leaps and bounds ahead of me, who are at 763,000, which is the top of the table. So am I going to say that I'm on the same level as those dudes when I'm at 115,000 for the year? No. So men, realize just because you got there, there's other men who are at that level too. So it doesn't just make the woman fawn over you. With that, peace and black power.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Blue Blazer. You got to bring the wife through here sometime so we can hear from her as well. But thank you for joining the
Please
show.
do.
Terrilyn, this has been one of the most pleasant, balanced interviews I think we've done on the show.
Agreed.
Yes,
Really?
yes, I really
Definitely.
enjoyed. I really, really, really enjoyed. This is really good, really balanced. Um, Not over the top, not crazy or anything. Like it was real good, like I'm happy that we were like, we should interview her. Be an interesting thing to hear from your perspective. Because I feel like you have a unique view of what mating and dating has kind of turned into the 21st century. So I think I'm glad we made a decision to get you on. This
So
is
am
great,
I.
really great.
So am I. Like, I am very honored that to be on your panel. I did not expect this. I did not expect the discussion to be on this level, and I did
Yeah.
not expect the energy, but I am very pleased with it. And I'm very happy that we finally got together and agreed upon a time to get this done. I really enjoyed this. I truly enjoyed this. Thank you so much.
Good, good, good. Do you have any concrete? What are your thoughts?
Well, no, I agree. Thank you so much for joining us. Definitely enjoyed the conversation. Hope you come back to visit us because you definitely
Yes,
provide a very balanced perspective. And as you can see, the men in this space even enjoy it. And
right. And
unfortunately,
they
they
rough.
are hard.
Are
They're a
they?
tough crowd.
What?
Yeah, listen, they are a tough crowd. Like they aren't. Um, they can be some piranhas, but they even enjoyed it and they complimented you several times for having a balanced perspective. But I
Yes, I
appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I enjoyed the dialogue. I think that you giving your perspectives and even those that were outside of those that are that the people subscribe to in this space, the way that you present your arguments and how balanced you are, and how even when met with opposing arguments, that you can kind of take it in stride and understand where they were coming from and just remain respectful. I loved everything about this interview. It was super dope,
Yes.
and thank you for joining us.
It
Right.
is a
Thank you so
pleasure.
much.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, but you make sure you come back and holler at us
Right.
anytime. We do a weekly show.
Okay.
Our shows usually air on Wednesdays at 5:35-ish p.m. Wednesdays, depending on what but between 5:30.
Wednesday evening show, and then a Sunday afternoon show we typically do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so you be sure to come back through. I mean, if Black Wolf is pleased, honey, I know we have made an impact because
I
he complains
know.
about everything.
Man,
I'm almost about to fall out of my chair.
I
Honey,
can't
we got
believe it.
you. Yeah, I'm really in shock. I don't know if it's the picture child.
I finally got that pic. You talking about my picture?
I mean,
Yes.
I
even the
finally got it to
colorism
come up
down there,
after 2 hours. What did you say now?
The
even the
king of
king of
colorism.
colorism down there,
He's
complimenting.
excited. So yeah, it's amazing.
Well, thank you
So
guys. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to everyone that's listening. It was definitely a
Make sure
pleasure
y'all
being
go
a
and
part of this.
subscribe to the page. Definitely go. It's
yes,
lit
we
over
have
there.
her link posted up. It should be pinned at the top of the comments, but if it is not pinned, then it is definitely in the description box. So y'all make sure y'all go join the group. She said it's like 90% of y'all looking for love. So what a place to start. Shout out to Nuruddin. He says, well, when they start disrespecting those high value black men, those women of other cultures are taking them and saying to you. I got my good black man. That's what they say.
Oh my God.
Okay. Okay. Well, guys, thank you so much to everybody who came through. Thank you for everybody who came through on the panel.
Definitely.
And thank you to everybody who came through in the chat. Y'all cut up in the chat so bad.
I
Who
mean,
child?
acting like, oh Lord have mercy, acting like baby kids.
Baby, y'all don't do nothing but show out. But thank you to y'all. Y'all still some of my favorite people. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Concrete, what you got?
That's all we got. That's pretty much all I got. Thank you to everybody who joined. Very good conversation. I had never
Yes.
conversed with Blue Blazer. He came with some real dynamic points, even through the technical difficulties. Thank you to everybody who joined the panel and everybody who super chatted us and everybody in the chat. We appreciate y'all, and we will see y'all next Wednesday.
Yep. Chaos Rain, we're ending the stream right about now.